Previously in X-Men, caught in a battle between members of the royal family of the alien Shi'ar Empire, the X-Men are in need of respite, and Professor Xavier is in a coma. Leader of the band of space pirates known as the STARJAMMERS is Corsair, who is also revealed to be the father of Cyclops, and thus will leave us with an opportunity for a reunion of sorts. I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of 7 Comics. Welcome to episode 69 of our never-ending Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that made or that became a classic. As we read Uncanny X-Men 158 or X-Men Classic 62, depending which version you want to read. Cover date of June 1982. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Looking forward to tackling this issue with you. I've spent a little bit of time this week, in the previous couple of days, looking back on some episodes and putting up like sections of our first episode. So I had to rewatch and snip our first episode into some pieces, put it into sort of 3 20-minute chunks. And it was really funny to go back and see just the minor adjustments we've made over the last year.
Sure.
Minor improvements or pivots or who knows what. Just even to see how much I've de-aged and how much older you look now. It's unbelievable.
It's like you're sucking my youth through the screen.
Edit that. Don't say that ever again. The idea of like sucking youth is not an appropriate thing for YouTube overall. 69 dudes.
Wild Stallions.
Thank you. And hello, David Cutler. How are you? I hope you're having a good start to your week. To me, my ex-friends, says Jason Lowe. Hope you are doing well, Jason, as well. And I had the good fortune of seeing both these guys a little over a week ago, sort of on a really nice Sunday afternoon, when I picked up this beauty, the X-Men Special Edition, which is a reprinting of Giant Size X-Men number 1 from 1982. So it's right about the time that we're reading. Marvel releases this beauty. Keeping in mind that like the idea of the back issue market is not really something firmly established. It's not even a decade old. Comic book stores themselves are kind of a growing thing, a newer thing. And there weren't trades regularly available, like putting issues together. But I think, the editorial realized they've got enough people kind of looking to start that series that they would want to do this. And so they print it, but it's on Baxter paper, which is a higher quality. And so it's oversaturated. Like everything is a little bit crazy bright.
Totally forgot Sunfire was in that issue.
Right. And this, you get like look at how crazy that the blues are.
Yeah.
Right. There's no subtlety. There's things are basically not getting as absorbed into the cheap paper.
And that's a Cockrum cover, right?
It is. It is. But before we talk about the cover, go ahead, please.
Oh no! If you're going to finish your thought, go ahead.
This issue also features a backup story by Claremont and Cockrum that is called A Day Like Any Other, and it features Kitty Pryde and Ileana Rasputin doing some training and narrating their way sort of through the mansion, and you get a tour of the mansion through these two kids.
And that's 82.
82. So it's the time that we're at right now reading.
2 thoughts. One, Ileana looks much older in that story than she has in the stories we're concurrently reading. She looks more like a younger teenager. Yep. That's interesting to me because she's portrayed very much as a little girl, like a 6 or 7-year-old little girl in what we're reading. So that's different.
Agreed.
And especially if he's coming at the same time seems kind of bizarre. But
yes.
Secondly, though, so that cover, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want to believe, have I seen a John Byrne version of that? No. What am I thinking of? Do you know what I'm saying?
You're thinking of something awesome and arguably better, depending on your taste.
Okay.
You're thinking of an Arthur Adams.
Art
Adams did this. He drew this I guess 2022.
Yes.
Or at least that's when he shared it over Instagram. and he did it over like 2 full-size pages.
Yeah.
And I think he sold it for, maybe about 40 or 50 grand US.
Friend of the show, Art Adams. It was so good
Kind
seeing
of.
him at Fan Expo, just catching up.
So I did have the good fortune of spending some time with him, more time than I deserve, that's for sure, and more time than I had earned with Mr. Adams. And he was really nice to me. We were tabling right near him.
Yeah,
and
around the
it
corner.
was the kind of thing where I could look over my shoulder and see him all the time, which I was giddy about.
Right in your rear view, like I'm in the front of Art Adams, in the back.
Like the way I am now, these 2 prints I picked up that day, or at that show.
Yeah,
and those are both Art Adams' modern drawings of older covers. This one being a redraw of Classic X-Men #1.
Yeah,
and this one being Days of Future Past, and then like the cover extended. So what's happening outside the cover as well. But I have such a soft spot for his covers, his drawing altogether. So watching Arthur Adams draw was amazing to see. So I asked him when I was there. I mean, you've heard the story because you were there as well. But for any viewers out there who are fans of his, I went to him every day a couple times and would buy something each time, including his sketchbook. And I usually try to be there just for a small amount of time, never get in front of anyone else, and make a little bit of small talk with him when he wasn't busy. I went back one day when there was kind of no one there and he was drawing, and I decided to get bold and I asked him. I had my badge on, so he knew I was at least somehow involved in comics. And so I asked him, do you mind if I come around the other side of the table and watch you draw? He's drawing in someone's sketchbook. He's doing commission. And he was drawing a Darkseid head, a bust of Darkseid. And he's like, yeah, no, come for sure, come. And so I hovered over his shoulder. I talked to his wife. And his daughter was there too, who's funny and precocious. And they were really, really nice. And watching that guy work is like a total joy. I never expected ever to meet Arthur Adams in my entire life, let alone talk to him, let alone watch him actually craft a really cool picture. And then he later on posted that on Instagram, the drawing that I saw him do. And it was super cool. So I'm a big fan of his, and they've gone and made I don't know what comic it actually is. I should just look it up again. But there is a comic book with his cover that he did.
Okay.
His redraw of this. Marvel published something with it, and then there is like a black and white variant.
That's right.
And I want it.
Well, to tie in these stories and to bring it back to what I guess Art Adams and John Byrne. So I managed to go over there and just kind of welcome him to Toronto and ask how he was doing and all those, when you have those moments before it gets too really wild at those shows. And I asked him to sign a few books, and of course he obliged, and he signed my copy, which of course you gave to me, of Action Comics Annual, which is written by John Byrne, right. and art by Art Adams, and it's Batman, Superman fighting vampires. A fantastic issue. Obviously, I loved it. And when the kind of fun little snippet, when I asked him to sign it, he said, it's funny. He's like, that's the one people, he said, of all the comics, he wasn't sure why, but in Toronto at that show, he's like, I've signed this one the most, which I mean, must be kind of, maybe there's a geographic reason, maybe, who knows? But I thought that was a really interesting, he's like, oh yeah, no, this is the one I've signed most this weekend.
I'm not sure what it could be either. Maybe we just got a really good amount of them shipped to Toronto.
Maybe.
And then maybe they reached a newsstand in Toronto and they were direct market in the States. I don't know what it is.
It was a funny little tidbit. Just a funny, like...
Totally.
Yeah.
Just want to acknowledge Anthony's comment here. It's really, really sweet and kind of you, Anthony. Good evening, gentlemen. Was looking forward to your stream all day after having to receive 91 boxes of toys and comics at work.
Having to receive? That sounds pretty, good, depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, that does sound incredible, but I'm imagining it's the receiving side, like the shipping and receiving task where you're, and then doing inventory with each piece to make sure you got all the things you need to get.
So it's not shipping, receiving, and unboxing, and playing.
I don't think it's the playing. My guess, it's a lot to take in. Days when Chris, you've worked retail.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you ever worked or did the shifts where you had to stock the floor from stuff that comes in.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It can be a lot of work. So Anthony, we're really glad you're here, and I'm touched that you're looking forward to this. So we look forward to it as well, and we're really glad that you're here to hang out with us tonight. A little more on that Arthur Adams thing. So that character, the vampire or vampiress in that story, her name is Skeeter, and I don't know why she resonated with so many people of our age group at that time, but it was a really memorable issue. It was coming out around the same time, like leading up to Batman 89. I think it's a 1988 Superman tale, or maybe even 87. So it's like there's a huge push toward, in DC, post Watchmen and post Dark Knight Returns in year one, and post Crisis. They've rebranded everything. A lot of new eyes are coming to DC Comics, and they kill Robin, right, in 1988. Right. And we all know Batman movie is coming. So I was, 12 years old, and I started collecting Batman then. And it was I've loved Batman comics ever since that time. Mignola doing the covers to the Death in the Family, by the way.
Yes.
Tying it back into this. So that Action Comics #1, Byrne is the creative force behind Action Comics and the Superman title, because he leaves Marvel to go do Superman. Like, if you're gonna get a fanboy creator off of X-Men, the #1 title, you lure him with Fantastic Four. Like, that's your Jack Kirby, Stan Lee flagship book. So he goes and does that. And if you want to lure him off Fantastic Four, you offer him Superman. Right. You know what I mean? And full creative control. So he controlled the brand of Superman in the middle of the 80s, post-Crisis. And so that's why he was writing that issue. And Arthur Adams on pencils. It was a great issue. The way he drew Batman was really cool.
Some of the best, if you enjoy, for those who haven't read it, if you enjoy the animated series, Bruce Timm and Kevin Conroy, Batman taking in terms of that kind of dark Knight, but more, I don't know, there's like a stoicism to him as well. And it's almost like it's always like the darkness is right behind the eyes. It's not quite up front. It's a bit muted. He has just about 3 or 4 killer lines in that story with Superman specifically, which is always fun to see that dynamic, right?
Oh,
and
totally.
He has just some killer dialogue that makes you love Batman even more. So
absolutely, and of course it predates the animated series by
years. Yes, I guess that's getting at. But like, if you have a touch point like that, yeah.
But it's funny how Conroy's performance in the animated series overall is so transcendent of the superhero genre, and it goes through action figures, movies, comics, the whole thing, video games. That even reading a comic book that comes out before that, you still bring your Kevin Conroy performance to reading a 1987 comic.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because he's so good at chewing the dialogue as Batman.
Sure.
And so when you just imagine those lines coming out of Conroy's, the voice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I so want to just talk about that issue and spoil the ending.
Didn't mean to bring it up. Sorry.
I love that issue, and I haven't read it in years, but I did flip. No. I flipped through yours. And then of course with the Art Adams sketchbook that I did buy that weekend, Skeeter's on the cover.
That's right.
It's just like he can draw anyone in the world just about better than everybody, and he's drawing Skeeter this one-time appearance.
One comic book issue character.
Yeah, really special. There is a really a dialogue going on here, just that I just want to give shout outs to. Anthony says he works at Planet X in Richmond Hill, which, no secret, is my local store. That's the one. It's not technically closest to my house, but it is.
But tomorrow.
Well, hold on. It is the one Anthony is the one that holds my weeklies. Anthony, you look out for me with books at that store, and it is greatly appreciated. So many times you have saved my proverbial bacon by pulling something cool off the shelf or responding to a desperate plea to save something for me. So glad you could be here and give shouts to Planet X in Richmond Hill, at Bayview and Major Mackenzie, in the north suburb of Toronto, of Richmond Hill. So you want to give our announcement, Chris, to Anthony?
Well, Anthony, I hope you're around tomorrow, because we're going to be at Planet X, and we said we're going to come to Planet X. We're going to come to Planet X to see the store, to see you, to do some comics tomorrow. We're in the neighborhood. We're both there in Richmond Hill, taking care of some business. Actually, delivering a classroom workshop, comics in the classroom. Tons of fun. Bunch of grade 10s. And yeah, they would come by. It's Wednesday. We come by Planet X. So hope to see you. Hope to meet you in person.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. I was looking forward to either just like ambushing Anthony when we get there.
Oh,
and
sorry.
being like, what is that? But no, this is just as good to play it up a little bit for hype. It's all in good fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to taking you to the local store. And you and I have been to many comic stores together, and we will continue to go to, hopefully, as we continue on this Group of 7 journey. So it'll be fun to show you around my hometown. And are we going to get...
That is Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Are we getting burgers tomorrow, do you think? Or what did you want to do?
I don't know, man. You mentioned dim sum, too, at one point.
Well, you just have to say what genre of food, what style of food you want. And I'm game for all of it. As you can see, but whatever you're in the mood for, I already have a place in mind, whether it's old school Greasy Spoon, like on Yonge Street, downtown Richmond Hill, or if it's, something a little fancier, schmancier. There's a nice dim sum up here.
Either way, we all win. Well, we win anyway.
Yeah, we win.
We win.
We can also do all three if you really want to push it. Okay. Anyway. It'll be good times. So yeah, Arthur Adams. I got to find that issue. I got to somehow track that one down.
Oh, you went on mute. You're on mute. Your mic is off. Don't know if anyone else in the chat can validate that, but if you can hear me, then lucky you. Oh, there we go. We're back.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I find that cord is really fickle. If I just look at it wrong, anyway.
If you give the stink eye?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Want to talk about this issue? Should we get into it?
Probably talk about this issue, yeah.
So we'll do a quick show the cover, and then we're going to, of course, detour as we have of late.
That works.
There is...
Wait a minute. Wait just a darn tootin' minute here. Present. There we are. That's better.
You do sound quiet to my ear, but I'm not sure if there's overall a volume issue, or maybe the gentleman in the chat can give us a sense if the volume is okay, if sound is all right, or if they need to increase something. We can definitely try to adjust if you give us some constructive feedback. So here we get, I'm going to just give it a full view as well for a moment.
Yes.
So there we get the Cockrum offering. This is Dave Cockrum. We get a weird looking rogue. Her first time in X-Men. Right. Her previous appearance was in Avengers Annual 10, which is her first appearance, drawn by Michael Golden.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome issue, which we reviewed on this channel. So that's awesome. Trevor, 16 Shooter, how you doing, man? He says, both you sound good.
Thank you,
David
Trevor.
Says, yeah, sounds fine here.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I'm happy to hear that. So we get this. Rogue is punching Wolverine through a wall.
Yes.
Against the blood red background. I guess it goes good contrast with her costume.
Yes.
What do you call the pants? That military style pant that has the pleated out side flap?
Yeah.
The Imperials wear it, I think, in Star Wars, and of course
they do.
The German military at times, and probably the Brits at times.
Like cargo pants, kind of.
Anyway, she's wearing them now, or she's got stuff in her pockets. And it is a weird look for Rogue.
A lot of loose change.
Yes, loose change. Her glove cuffs are oddly ornate and don't match Rogue's personality that we know so far.
Yeah.
And her widow's peak is weird, and her Wolverine hair is weird.
Right. So is that right? I don't know if this maybe goes to our theory on Cockrum and Wolverine, but is this meant to be a mimic of the Wolverine look? That was my first takeaway immediately.
Oh, I see. As if she's absorbed Wolverine for a moment.
Yeah.
And then she's showing attributes. So that is an interesting first reading of it, and I guess we'll have to open it up and take a look and see.
Mhm.
Good point. David says, yeah, the Mounties dress uniform has them.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. They do. And Trevor comes in for the win with Jodhpur pants.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know what those are, but that's, I guess, what I've never understood them as an idea. I've just seen them, obviously in film and in photographs and such. Jason asks, did she see herself as a soldier of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? That's a neat way to kind of look at it, because her outfit is very militaristic.
It is.
And also dress uniform with,
those
ornate
gloves,
pattern.
Yeah, it's almost like cavalry, like American,
right?
Custer type cavalry with those giant gloves and the button up, similar to how our peregrines look sometimes with that kind of button up tunic.
Right.
Yeah.
But of course, our button up tunic is based on what the nurses were actually wearing, combined with what we see in photographs of pilots of that time.
That's right.
So it's sort of a merging of those two ideas. But this is a weird look for Rogue compared to where we saw her last. Remember, she was only in one issue. It's drawn by Michael Golden, and the design, as far as the character description from Claremont, was that she is a Grace Jones-like figure. So she was going to be lean and androgynous and kind of striking. I don't even know where the white hair streaks in the hair come from, whether that's golden or not. And in this issue, it's another chance to portray her a different way, and this is what Cockrum does with her. So we'll see how that plays out. David adds the very technical idea about these pants. They give you a secret place to poop. Yeah, because that's a very good point, David. I'm guessing you're speaking from experience, so we'll take your word for it. Coffee. So this is the cover that Cockrum offers, and then again you go down the road about 10 years, and we get what Mike Mignola is offering. Let me just change that view for a moment. Let me make that full screen. There you go. This is good.
Yes, it is.
So to my eye, it's good. I mean, he's always to my taste. So he's minimized like the impact of those gloves by making them darker on the body, and the yellow is like just the trim. He's also kind of hidden the weirdness of her hair in her motion. So it's sort of like the speed lines of her hair as opposed to her having Wolverine hair.
Right.
But it could still read as Wolverine hair. And again, he's just a genius of composition, pulling from people like Frank Frazetta, and unintentionally, I know he stated that he didn't pull from Toth, but maybe he's looking at similar sources that Toth was thinking about, or just these rules of composition. So, the characters that you want to push something back, you can put it in black. So, her back legs, and just Storm's legs that are behind her, opposite the lightning bolt, like that white highlight going across the whole thing, and putting some lightning in front and some lightning behind to create depth of field. I remember, this is not intentionally, but this is kind of what I was thinking about for the last issue of Peregrines, the part 2. So it was Group 7 Comics issue 8. My early sketches had these like lightning shocks coming out of the clash between sword and arm shield. And you didn't like it. I just liked to play with it, and you're like, try it without. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Try different things. I don't do lightning as well as Mike Mignola, and there was also a lot going on that cover in the background, so it wouldn't have been as effective. But here, there's nothing else to play with, so he does it to great effect.
And I like, the other thing, yes, I mean, we have our preferences design-wise, but I actually like the story in this cover more than I enjoy the story of the Cockrum cover. Like, she's absorbing the lightning and everyone's, like, getting the hell out of the way.
Sure.
Like, it's just a much more, to me, a more powerful image of than just like punching someone through a wall. It's kind of unbridled, unchecked power, and really then we think about the potential of this mutant, this character. Like what can she do? What are her limits? Does she have any?
Right.
And it's exciting to think about that.
I agree with you. I also like that Wolverine is not at his best. Like he doesn't have control over this at all.
No.
Yeah, I think it's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
David says long hours standing at attention. He's still talking about the pants.
Poop pants.
So David, you've never seen this one. Yeah, it's a good looking cover. And Mignola, whoever he works with as colorist, he's always kind of bold with that background color. This is a cool one. And, you know, we hear, if you're a cartoonist kayfabe fan like me, where, you know, I listen to Jim Rugg talk a lot about color, and he talks about, you know, warms and cools. So if you have your warms up front, like we've got, it's actually, a warm green because there's yellow in it. And of course, Nightcrawler's costume is warm in this case. And like the blue of his fur is not included, so it doesn't cool him down. Wolverine's costume is warm, and Storm's costume, the browns and yellow, is warm. So it's all warm colors for that, and then you cool it with the background. So it creates, again, the depth of field and contrast. It pushes that color back, makes the characters all pop because you're putting warms against a cool. And so it really does work beautifully. And Peter Craig Russell on inks. It's neat. It's really great to look at. Jason says it's a very interesting take. I think so too. You know, he doesn't ever draw anyone perfect. Like he doesn't draw the best version of any X-Man or woman. But just this composition's really cool. She's rocking the Wolverine Meltdown hair. Meltdown referring to the limited series with Havok and Wolverine, where Wolverine's hair is extra long and actually bends over and droops. It's crazy. Yeah, they were riding pants held over from cavalry. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Makes sense. I'm going to get rid of a bot. There you go. Let's hope that works. Very cool to see. So I'm a fan of this one. The original art, I believe, is in the Marvel Covers volume, the Marvel Covers, the first volume. I just didn't decide to open it up this day and take a look. So that's okay. Right? You forgive me?
All right.
Good. All right. Rogue. Here we go.
Shall we
You ready?
dive in? Let's do it.
We should. Oh boy. So again, like not the most dynamic way to present this image, but okay, I'm just gonna try and get over that Cockrum doesn't lay things out to my taste, and that's really okay. Yeah, I'm like you, Trevor. I love Mignola's light and shadowing. His use of shadow. He uses always for great effect, and I can look at his stuff all day long, and sometimes I do. And there's Jason's buddy, Ch'od. We're all looking for that figure, huh? I'm excited. So we've got a bunch of characters here that are the STARJAMMERS, and which, if you are new to the show or you haven't read these comics before, they are essentially the dynamic that the Guardians of the Galaxy have in the movies. But this is just, 30 years or 40 years before that. But they're kind of just a hodgepodge of different aliens that run around the galaxy as pirates but do good.
That's right.
There you go. And their leader is a mustachioed space pirate from Earth. So they really have the template for the movie version. And the thing that I guess we might want to just mention, of course, is that they are on the new island base inhabited by the X-Men that was a secret sub-Atlantic city that was raised from the bottom of the ocean by Magneto around the events of issue 150. So about 8 months ago.
And we still don't know anything about the city nor the people who may have inhabited said city. We just know that it is a fully formed city that has been raised, and there's only the X-Men currently on it because their mansion was blown to bits.
And Xavier has he believes that they should move the team to this sort of neutral and secret location to protect, figure out what's what and protect everybody, which is a good strategic idea. And I do support and I do appreciate the way that Claremont is able to create threads, plot threads, story threads, character arcs over long periods of time. And if you do it right, the reader buys in. In the case of this island, as a reader, I needed to know more about it to make me interested in it. You don't have to reveal everything about it, but maybe just a little bit.
Sure.
Oh, we'll see. So it's been a bit of an ongoing joke with us.
Mm-hmm.
The Life That Late I Led. So this is by Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum on the 1s and 2s, and Bob Wiacek on inks. Of note, of course, Louise Jones, editor, now longtime editor since the Dark Phoenix saga, and is Louise Simonson, and she'll be on the series for the bulk of what we're going to read. And she's a huge influence on the things that we love about the X-Men from that time period. And Jim Shooter is editor-in-chief, but he's still pretty hands-off of the day-to-day, what happens in the book. In the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, far off the beaten track, is an island that serves as the temporary headquarters of the Uncanny X-Men, the outlaw team of mutant superheroes. This quartet dueling in the courtyard, however, are not the X-Men. Indeed, 3 of them aren't even human, though all are friends and allies of our heroes. Blonde is Carol Danvers, who used to be a superhero until she was stripped of her powers 3 months ago. The others, Raza Ch'od, together with his pet companion Kree and Mamselle Hepzibah, are Starjammers, interstellar swashbucklers. They expected an easy victory over Carol. Read whoever you like. There's a lot of voices to do.
Last. Why don't you continue doing Chode? You did Chode.
Do you remember what I did for Chode?
I think you kind of did like a fish person's voice, but I could be wrong.
Okay, I'll go with some. I'll try and find something.
Okay.
I hoped for a pleasant, albeit minor, morning diversion.
By the Black Nebula.
Alley-oop. Surprisingly, things haven't worked out that way. But this duel is turning out splendidly.
Easy for thou to say, Lummox. She hasn't thrown thee yet. That hurt. Missed.
Monitoring the bout is NASA physicist Peter Corbeau, another of the X-Men's trusted associates. How about that? Losing your touch, Hepzibah?
No. Fascinating. That was a heavy hit. Carol had no opportunity to roll with it, yet her body handled it just fine. Carol's bio readings are incredible, and her performance superb. She should have been slaughtered long ago, yet she actually has a chance of winning.
Part of me was hoping you'd be like, Peter Corbeau.
Well, no, you gotta save that for Rogue.
What's that?
You gotta save that for Rogue, darling.
Yeah. Well, she's Mississippi. You can go New Orleans. Peter Corbeau. Right. And as Jason and I think David were telling us, like, Corbeau plays a role in X-Men now.
Right. That's what
like he isn't just a throwaway character. I actually really love the fact that Claremont does weave a huge tapestry of characters, of supporting cast, that come in and out of the series. Like, we've seen Dr. Corbeau since before issue 100. So it's been over, it's been about 60 plus issues, and we've known this character for a while. Danvers has been in this title for a few months. It's really interesting how that goes that way.
Who is you're mentioning to me, is Corbeau an example of a character who is like the superhuman, the super fantastical people's human friend who is also into science and space and can help them? Who are you telling me is Johnny Storm's roommate from Fantastic Four?
Wyatt Wingfoot.
Okay. Who just kind
back
of
in the 60s.
Back in the 60s, right? And he, is a friend of the team and can kind of dust it up and get himself involved, but he's not going to take on Galactus.
This is right. Well, this is a thing that I noticed in a lot of the Kirby books, is that he's as interested in the little ensemble The young characters and their like street level conversations and street level doings as he is in the cosmic. So, like Johnny Storm repairing his hot rod, going to the soda shop, and with his football playing buddy Wyatt Wingfoot. You got Rick Jones with the Avengers. You get Bucky with Cap.
Right.
It's someone for the team to talk to sometimes on their.
It's kind of a grounding presence, right?
It is, and it's a trope of definitely of Kirby comics. We don't see it in Spidey, but again, that's not a Kirby comic, right? That's Ditko. But he likes those characters around, and this feels right in that wheelhouse where they're, Ileana is hanging around, Moira McTaggart is hanging around. So there's an entourage of characters, like an ensemble. I think it adds personally, but Jason says he was a SWORD member in the Avengers cartoon and showed up in a number of Hulk issues. Oh yeah, SWORD. SWORD member makes sense, seeing him interacting with cosmic characters like the STARJAMMERS. Definitely. David says, I really miss civilian supporting characters. One of my pet peeves of modern superhero books is everyone has powers now. Yeah, it's hard to resist, especially as characters get handed from one writer to the next. They seem like easy opportunities for new plot twists. Is that next character powers up? There's a kind of notorious What If comic where Aunt May becomes or is it Marvel Team Up or What If? I think it's Marvel Team Up now that I think about it. Where Aunt May becomes a Herald of Galactus.
Really?
And it's like a joke, though. It was like I think it's Assistant Editors Month, which was a thing they used to do in the 80s where they would jokingly let the inmates run the asylum. And Aunt May is the Herald of Galactus. It's all good fun, for sure. So I do miss those supporting characters, too. I'm with thinking about the Bat family. There's also sometimes Robin can be a major player. Sometimes he's just a character that's in the Batcave that Batman talks to him while he's doing his investigation. Obviously, Alfred being there, Commissioner Gordon being there, not in the cave, but in Batman's interactions. And it does also make the hugeness of the superhero that much more spectacular when you can compare them to a more regular figure.
Exactly.
So there is something pretty cool about that. So I like having these other characters around.
Very cool.
And yes, that's right, the golden oldie. The Silver Surfer, but she's the golden oldie. Very good, Trevor. That's excellent. Jason says, now I'm Googling what Stevie Hunter is doing these days. Exactly. Stevie Hunter got into politics. Don't spoil.
Oh.
Steamy Hunter with steam powers. All right. I'm going to start choking. I'm enjoying this too much. Playtime is over. There's a new day. Chode!
Yeah, you're Chode.
The giant alien lunges with a speed that belies his massive bulk, almost faster than the eye can follow, and misses. You were saying? My leg!
Hold her, Raza. Thy fancy tricks will avail thee not, lass. None can break my grip of steel.
Superb efforts, Sunhair. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Superb efforts, Sunhair, which is a funny way to say with someone with blonde hair.
Right.
Impressed even me. Aye, doubts thou yield?
Do I have a choice? Not if you want to get up. Thinks.
Yeah, what do you think E is thinking right now? It's probably like really dirty.
It'd be funny if he's the what's his name?
The Groot?
No. On South Park. Kenny. He's the Kenny of the group.
He's the Kenny? Yeah.
Everything he thinks is like the worst thing you
can Right. They're all like, Cree! Like, you just never know what he's saying, but they all know what he's saying.
With Kenny, you can kind of hear it.
Yeah.
And if you just sort of use your imagination, think the worst thing you can, that's what he's pretty much saying every time.
Yeah.
In another part of the island, Peter Rasputin, who, as Colossus, is one of the X-Men's mainstays, recuperates from wounds suffered in a recent battle, under the watchful eyes of his little sister Ileana and teammate Kitty Pryde. Keeping in mind what you just said about her age in that 1982 edition of
Yeah,
right.
Same year of publication, right? Like she is a 6-year-old, 7-year-old girl here.
Totally. Anthony says about your question about Cree and his language or its language. Cree translates to horny little one in English. It's very insightful. Thank you.
Those are Martians, little snowflake.
Eek.
Eek.
Do you want to read Kitty?
Sure,
or,
I'll do Kitty,
yeah, please and thank you.
Peter's doing real well. He should be his old self in no time. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. We mutants seem to be a pretty tough something.
Agreed.
Thank you. Considering the X-Men's line of work, we have to be. It seems like I joined the team only yesterday, yet I fought demons, supervillains, aliens. I've seen people die violently, horribly. I almost died myself more than once. If I had any smarts, I'd chuck this and go back to living a normal life. But I'm not normal. None of us are. And our powers give us special responsibilities. I wonder now if they give us special feelings too. When I saw Colossus killed, I thought I'd die myself. I never felt so hollow and empty, like somebody had ripped out my heart. Then later, when I discovered he was still alive, I kind of felt worse. At first, I couldn't move. He looked so beautiful, I was afraid to do anything, say anything, for fear this would turn out to be a dream and he'd disappear in my arms. Suddenly, I hated being 14, a kid. That scared me. But then I hugged him and kissed him, taking refuge from emotions, sensations, and I never experienced and didn't understand, and acting like a kid, and everything was fine. But everything isn't fine. The feelings won't go away. They won't even settle down. I wish I could talk to someone about this, but the professor's sick, and it's none of the guy's business. That leaves Aurora, but suppose she doesn't understand.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Firstly, I still can't dig the way he draws that face sometimes.
Yeah.
Whatever piece it is, like whether the nose is too small, it ends up being that the chin is so pointy, and it looks like your face is sort of smushed into. It almost looks like he drew a face and then sort of drew a head, came back later and drew a face independent of that head.
Right. Yeah,
but I also
it doesn't look placed accurately, right? Like it's just
yes.
Yeah.
I do like though how it, she is a lot of times the heart and soul of the series at the moment, and it does place Peter as like the male lead in a way that he's opposite her, or at least the potential for that. David adds, Claremont is so uninterested in mutants as a metaphor for the disenfranchised in this era. It's nuts to me. Pretty much never comes up.
Yeah.
I wonder what changes, or what has changed. While Kitty wrestles with the realities of growing up.
Hast thou completed thy evaluation of our sparring partner, Scholar Corbeau?
Yeah, Peter. The suspense is moida. What's the verdict?
Extraordinary. Years ago, when you were transformed into Ms. Marvel, your genetic structure was irrevocably altered. In addition to gaining superpowers, you were evolved into a perfect physical specimen of humanity. You may have been stripped of those powers, but the basic genetic material and modifications remain intact.
That explains your superb performance in our duel. You may not be what you were, but you are far superior to an ordinary woman. I don't feel superior, Chode. I could handle losing my powers. It's the way I lost them that hurts, even after all these months.
When you lose something, someone, that fundamental loss, anyway hurts.
Moira.
I was observing your work here on the monitors. We'll review the biotelemetry this evening.
Biotelemetry? Tell me all about that. Fine. How's the professor?
No better, no worse. He breathes, his heart beats, his body functions. Beyond that, Dr. McTaggart, Lelandra sent me for you. Thank you.
Sorry, switching between accents.
Not easy. Come on, you can
Not
do it.
easy. Thank you, Nightcrawler. I'll be in directly.
Trevor says Zoidberg, referring to my chode, I'm sure.
Zoidberg. Oh, he's a doctor. Come on, it's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's hard to switch gears between two accents, huh? It's like
two European accents.
yes, it's great. I wish they could put you through your paces some more. It's good to see. I wonder about this training suit that Danvers is in.
Mm-hmm.
Like the copy that I'm reading is just in the X-Men Essentials, and so it just looks like a 80s Fantastic Four suit that Byrne brings in with the white belt, the white gloves, the white boots, and then dark body. And of course, it's colored here with reds and blue, kind of like the reverse Hellfire Club.
Right.
I wonder why it's not an X-Men costume. This is kind of almost what Cockrum puts in terms of like the two tones in black and white. But this is kind of like her Miss Marvel colors as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, red and blue. So I'm wondering if there's any thought to it at all, because you can communicate something there if you really want to. I think it's really cool that her DNA was changed. When her powers are gone, her DNA doesn't change back. It's just her powers are stripped. So I look at her and I can't help but think about her as like a character that for whatever reason Claremont is actually invested in, and he's reclaiming her from what the other writers did to her over in Avengers 200, where she is involved in something with Immortus's child and is basically raped and as a slave, an unwilling slave. Anyway, like maybe that Claremont has long-term ideas of just how to rebuild this character from scratch. So he's kind of peeling away the layers, seeing what's actually still there, and then like coming up with a direction to move forward. But basically saying that she's ready to do superheroics right now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
She's got a little Captain America.
Well, I was going to say that whole perfect physical specimen piece, that's Cap, right? Basically.
Yeah, that she could be anybody.
Yeah. At
this point, like she could take on a new name and be a non-powered crime fighter. You could, of course, give her a set of weapons that make her like Nick Fury can just arm her to the teeth, and she can be a really great agent of some kind. Like it really could go in a lot of cool directions. So I know where it's gonna go loosely, but I'm kind of in. I'm in for this. It's got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
The German X-Man departs as he arrived, teleporting back to the improvised medical center with Moira's message. Lying comatose on the bed is Charles Xavier, founder and mentor of the X-Men. By his side, two more members of the team, Storm, its leader, and Wolverine. Near Moira stand Lilandra, Magistrix Shi'ar, ruler of a galactic empire, the woman Xavier loves, and Oracle of Lilandra's Imperial Guard, a telepath, perhaps the only person who can save him. That is a lot of exposition.
Wow, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
We're as ready as you'll ever be. Oracle, he's all yours.
She has spent a full day in meditation, preparing for this ordeal. For being focused yet totally relaxed, she lets her thoughts fly free. So we as readers don't know what's going on with Xavier. We know that he was held captive by Deathbird.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know exactly why he's comatose, but there's something ominous about. And I'm like, yeah, pull this taffy. Like let's stretch this out. Let's make it build the tension. I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
She will forge a psionic rapport with Charles and examine him to determine what force struck him down and whether or not the damage can be repaired. It will not be an easy task, my friends, but Oracle is my empire's premier telepath. If anyone can succeed, it is she.
For a time, to those watching, nothing much happens. As Oracle picks her way cautiously, carefully, not wanting to harm her patient or herself, into Xavier's mind. And then, without warning, she's caught in a psychic riptide and tumbled headlong into chaos. In an instant, she dies 1,000 gruesome deaths, victim of a savage conflict being waged within Xavier's brain. She's assaulted by a myriad images, real and imagined. Unable to tell which is which, she drowns in a maelstrom of agony. She screams, a shriek of pain and terror that echoes Xavier's own, and senses a curious duality to the man's psychic aura, a sense of hunger, insatiable predatory alien, coupled to so foul and evil a presence that the moment she perceives it, she denies it, forgets it. Xavier, aware of this, sobs in frustration and despair, while at the core of his being, in his very soul, something grins in triumph. Holy shit. The rapport is complete. Xavier's torment is now Oracle's, and through her, it finds physical expression. Her body twists to the limit of human endurance, is torn by terrible, racking spasms, while ultra-energy psi-bolts explode from her like lightning, incinerating whatever they touch. Kill! To live must kill.
She's under his control. He's adding his power to hers, using the cyborg to attack the medical unit and himself. Suicide, Charles. I'd not have believed it possible of you. Are things so hopeless? Wolverine, use your claws to sever the energy link between them. Hurry, man, or it'll be too late.
How am I supposed to... Hey! I shall get you there, Wolverine. You must do the rest. As Storm's elemental powers generate a gale force gust of wind to hurl Wolverine across the room, the feisty Canadian extrudes adamantium claws from the backs of his hands and slashes them through the power field binding Oracle to Xavier. As Moira hoped, the super dense, unbreakable metal disrupts the delicate matrix with spectacular results. Blammo!
Blammo.
Now, I love the idea that adamantium has some otherworldly qualities, like nth metal for Hawkgirl.
Right. I was going to say, yeah.
There's you could use them as something that has to do with magic sometimes. It might be a neat thing.
Does vibranium have something similar like that?
Why not? Sure.
Why not? It can deflect certain things, right?
Yeah, absorb sound of vibranium. Right. Hence the name, the sound vibrations.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Aurora, the computers are burning. I have an extinguisher on this one.
Good, Kurt. A whirlwind vacuum should draw the oxygen from these other fires and suffocate them. Phew. I'm okay, Storm.
As am I, and I think Moira. But what of Oracle and Charles? No change. I thought I had known true love before I met you. I knew nothing. We are sides of the... Hey, you. Hey. Same plane. Halves of a greater, frightening, wonderful whole. With you, I am complete, as I know you are with me. Without you, I am a shadow. I live but do not prosper. And though my days may be long and fruitful, they will forever lack joy. Easy, lass. You've had a nasty shock.
Your concern is appreciated, but unnecessary. I am well. I wish the same could be said for Xavier. I have never interfaced with a mind of such depth and complexity, such subtlety. His mental defenses are phenomenal. He has withdrawn deep within himself. Moira, he is at war with himself. I have done my best, but no outside force can aid him. His recovery is completely up to him.
I heard an explosion, Nightcrawler. Problems? Be careful while you face catch him. Fires are still burning, and many of these electrical systems are still active. So I see. What happened? Oracle tried to pull Herr Professor Xavier out of his coma. Things didn't work out, huh?
You might say that, kitten.
Under the circumstances, I'm not sure if you guys will be interested. They're talking about the X-Men on TV.
TV, I love TV.
Ooh. What's
I
this?
like that panel
TV?
with Wolverine. Yeah, with Wolverine with the fire extinguisher.
Yeah,
It's like sort of a weird, mundane kind of task for him. And Nightcrawler, too, of course.
exactly. What's this? Scenes of a battle in Washington, D.C. with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Who's broadcasting them? It is a satellite transmission of a British news program, Panorama.
There are a number of so-called superhero teams extant in the world today, most of them American, and chief among those the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. One of the most mysterious of these groups is the X-Men, here seen in Washington, D.C., and only days ago in New York. What makes them unique is the fact that its members are mutants, humans gifted or cursed at birth with extraordinary physical and or mental abilities. With us tonight to discuss both mutants and the X-Men is U.S. Senator Robert Kelly. Not the comedian you know as Robert Kelly, but the U.S. Senator, chairman of an ad hoc Congressional Committee on Mutant Affairs. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Cheever. However, I'm afraid I must take issue with your characterization of the X-Men as heroes. That fight in New York destroyed a $200 million building. Hardly the act of heroes. They're outlaws, pure and simple.
Ach, I do not believe this. We were defending ourselves in both instances. Should we have done nothing and let ourselves and innocent bystanders be slaughtered?
You're wasting your breath, Elf. The best arguments on Earth won't convince that creep. His mind's made up. Do the facts support such a contention, Senator?
In each case, the X-Men fought recognized criminals.
And in Washington, they saved you from certain assassination.
That really isn't the point. Who are these X-Men? What gives them the right to take the law into their own hands? Things are out of control, John. There are too many super beings, too many mutants with more appearing virtually every day. Not merely in the United States, but throughout the globe. Yet little is known about the forces, natural and artificial, which create them, or the effect their presence will have on the rest of humanity.
You seem to be saying that mutants are dangerous simply because they exist. That's an odd position for an avowed civil libertarian like yourself.
I can't deny it, but these are certain extraordinary cases that transcend morality. The bottom line, John, is that the national security may be at stake. Mutants, as individuals, as a group, as a species, must be investigated. Everything possible must be learned about them. If they prove to be a threat to the nation, and by extension, the world, then, regrettable as it may sound, they must be dealt with. That miserable sanctimonious sod.
I don't understand, Moira. My folks think he's a good, decent man.
Your folks are terrible, Kitty, by the way, but it was sidebar.
Why does he hate us so?
Nature of the beast, kiddo.
To fear that which is different. This is trouble. When he formed the X-Men, Charles worked with the government. There are computer files on the original team, probably a new lot too. We've been lucky and safe so far, but that won't last. The files have to be destroyed before X-Men security is irrevocably compromised.
It's fading.
No problem. We simply design an open-ended virus program to erase any and all references to the X-Men and plug it into the Central Federal Databank. From there, it'll infect the entire system in no time.
Can you do that, kitten?
The Starjammers can.
Meanwhile, some 2,000 miles westward, in the starkly beautiful Rio Diablo mountain range, in a sleek, unearthly shuttlecraft drops silently to the ground outside the house shared by former X-Men Lorna Dane Polaris and Alex Summers Havok.
Here.
How's dinner? I'm starved.
Be patient, my love. Oh,
What's wrong?
burn my tongue. Why is he talking with the ma? Burn my tongue, my love. The chili is superb, but not.
But hot.
Oh, but hot. But hot. Pour me a glass of ice water, will you?
I've got a better idea.
A woman after my own heart, among other things.
What does that mean? What is she after?
I have no idea. I can't read these two.
She's after his little chili pepper.
This hot little chili pepper. Murphy's Law, it never fails. Just when things get interesting out here in the middle of nowhere in the desert, there's a knock at the door. Hold those thoughts, sweetheart. Well, I know what the heck it is. Hello, Alex. Oh, Scott. Scott, Lorna, look who's here. What brings you to this neck of the woods, big brother? You tired of ramrodding the X-Men? And speaking of ramrodding, you look great. Come on in. Alex, I'm not alone. So I see. There's no easy way to say this, Alex, but meet Christopher Summers, Corsair, leader of the Starjammers, and our father.
And you'd think that this is the beginning of a few pages of meaningful storytelling.
You'd think.
This guy's seeing his father for the first time since he was pushed out of an airplane when he was a child. Believed dead. And it's unbelievable. So you'd think this is going to be the beginning. Before we change pages, we need to address, there's so many fun things going on in here. But anyway, Trevor's wishing that you're careful you don't sprain your tongue, because that's a lot you're doing there. And Jason points out, are Colossus and Ileana rocking Ecstatics shirts? And David's like, yeah, they are.
What is Ecstatics?
Dude, you're in for such a treat.
Okay.
So, long story short, and please in the chat, feel free to correct me at any point. The series of X-Force that, like Liefeld takes New Mutants, turns it into X-Force. It goes in a certain direction for basically a decade.
Yeah.
And Peter Milligan and the amazing Mike Allred get hold, I believe, of that series and change they rebrand the whole thing in another 180.
Okay.
They don't bring it back to where it was. They create a version of X-Men that is wholly unique. It is, I don't even know how to describe it in a short period of time, but it is that thick, chunky lined, old-fashioned style that Mike Allred is known for. If you've ever seen his Mad Men drawing, okay, so it looks like that. Like our friend Jay Stevens was collaborators with Allred a little bit, so like there's some similarities in some of the way that they value certain things in the way they draw.
Mm-hmm.
And characters were basically X-Men celebrities, and the series was bonkers, and characters died regularly. Like no one is safe on the team, and it was.
And they were called the Ecstatics?
They were called the Ecstatics, yeah. To the point where they even had a team member who was like Lady Di after she had died. It was like she was in like an undead. I don't even.
Okay.
You should. I'll find you a video, probably like a comics tropes episode where he goes in to sort of explain it. But it was like a highly controversial run at the time, just because regular fans of the series were like jumping ship. They hated it. And people who wanted something different really, really loved it. And it's looked favorably upon, so much that they've just recently brought it back. There's a vomit-powered guy. It's bonkers.
How many issues did this creative team stay on for?
I think it was about 25. There's, I'm sure there's an omnibus of it, and it is sort of like a little bit lighthearted, but also very much like a satire of the late 1990s, and reality TV is kind of getting in there, and celebrityism and superheroes, like making fun of all of it.
That sounds
it's unlike anything else that Marvel has made, for sure. Definitely worth the time. I've only read a little bit of it, but people like us have revered it. And that the logo that they wear is the one. And the logo in the story, the graphic on the T-shirt is like part of the word ecstatics. It's like that's the logo on the heading of the issue. So it looks like they're from the team. It's foreshadowing. Right. Anyway, I'm really not the guy to explain what ecstatics is, clearly, but it is a different interpretation of the X-Men premise through a satirical lens and great visual storytelling.
Right on.
There you go. That was better on my part.
Well,
hey, Gary, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And have you read this issue before? Is this a familiar one, or is this new like it is for us? So Alex just meets his dad, we think. And what happens next, Chris?
Page turner and... Oh, wait. That's it.
That story is now over.
There
is nothing more about Alex meeting his dad for this issue. Unbelievable. But that's Claremont juggling how many balls at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And we're finally on to now like the bulk of the issue, right? We're out of that sort of first act of this is what's happened to everyone on the island. The idea of like what their quest is going to be to erase the X-Men's existence from all government records. That's now the mission that they're on. So we're kind of into the second act. Mm-hmm. Just want to point out, this reminds me a lot of X-Men First Class.
Oh, sure.
Where there's the relationship between the American government and the early days of the X-Men. And there's records of the X-Men. And then, of course, at the end of the movie, spoilers, the movie's 10 years old or more. Xavier erases everyone's mind. So they forget the X-Men were over there. Reactions are many and varied, and not all of them pleasant. Bewilderment and disbelief vying with elation in Alex as he struggles, as Scott did a week ago, to assimilate this stunning revelation. A four-way conversation / reunion begins over dinner, and it's still going on without let-up late into the following day, and we're going to see none of that. At roughly the same time on the East Coast, an official-looking car approaches the main entrance of a building known throughout the world. 3 passengers alight, one wearing the uniform of a captain in the Canadian Armed Forces.
Ooh, take a shot.
One that of a U.S. Air Force colonel. And the other one is Storm. You sure this crazy stunt will work, Carol? You be Carol.
Okay. Trust me, Wolverine. Nightcrawler, you wait here. If we hit trouble, Storm will call you on her macro transceiver. Jawohl, Carol. Take care. Mein Freund, and good luck.
However, as they enter the Pentagon, excuse me, Captain. We're getting exceptionally strong readings from our metal detectors. No, Wolverine, I beg you. Do nothing rash.
Lieutenant, I haven't time for this. We're due to brief the Joint Chiefs.
I'll clear this up, Colonel. My medic card, mister. Take a drink. A good chunk of my skeleton is metal. Prosthetics. War wounds. That's what triggered your snooper. For a moment, I thought we were lost. Nah, Carol and me had that kid pretty well buffaloed. Man, if I had a nickel for every time me and Carol buffaloed some kid. Oof.
Yeah,
Ouch. Ah. I was wondering, though, Carol, about the command pilot wings and fruit salad you're wearing. Are they legit?
as much as
So
yours.
for those who don't know what fruit salad is, it's slang for the colorful array of medals and rank displaying medals on someone's
Okay.
but they pin to their jacket.
Okay. As much as yours, Logan, the wings and medals were earned. So was the rank. I was allowed to temporarily upgrade from major to colonel on missions. The clout came in useful. We'll need it to reach the Prime Data Bank in the SISO Special Intelligence Service Operation Vault. It's the most heavily guarded area of the entire Pentagon.
Oh, the SISO, which is
The SISO.
they used to call it
CISO. Oh,
CISO.
CISO.
Yeah, CISO. They've removed the word service. So pardon me. I was reading those two different words because it's split across the lines. David says, wouldn't the bulk of the records in existence in 1982 still have hard copies? No. They probably still do. No, David. Not sure what a virus would do. David, you're wrong. Everything's on computers in 82, David. Come on, man. But that's another Claremont obsession, removing knowledge of the X-Men from the public. Yes. Think about, obviously, the one that comes to my mind is when they stepped through the Siege Perilous in issue 127 or whatever issue it is. I think it's 127-ish. After they saved Dallas, right?
That's
go,
right.
They go stealth. Do you remember that, Chris?
That's
Do
from.
you know about that?
What's that from?
When they in issue, I think it's 227.
No, I don't know.
You haven't read that yet.
No.
Okay. Well, they go. Yeah, they step through a magical portal that erases them from everyone's perceptions.
Sure.
So they can exist in like a covert ops state, and they won't appear on camera or any of that stuff. But we'll get to that in about a year.
And I can confirm for David, as a working archivist who works with government records, 100% they would still be hard copies from 1982. They would be in a box somewhere on a shelf, somewhere in a storage facility.
Right, and I'm pretty sure at this point that storage facility is where the Lost Ark is.
Of course. Well, yeah, top men, right? Top men.
Yes, top men.
Looking after it.
Who exactly? Top men.
Top men.
Man, I can't wait for that movie. I can't wait.
The Dial of Destiny.
I don't care about that. I just care about the Indiana Jones part. Give me as much Indiana Jones as possible. So she continues.
The Pentagon was originally designed as a military hospital in World War I. Does that say 2?
Yeah, it is. It's a Roman numeral. That
makes a lot more sense than World War I. Yeah, sometimes these scans I read from are can get muddy from the PDFs. Okay, World War II. That's why the corridors are so wide, to accommodate double and triple parked gurneys. Because of its size and confusing layout, people are always getting lost, and some, naturally, are rumored never to be seen again. If you'd like to learn more about the Pentagon, please visit the tour desk at the front of the Pentagon and grab a map.
Think that'll happen to us, Colonel?
Anything's possible. Oh, I beg your pardon. My fault, Colonel. I should have looked. You! Danvers! Rogue!
That single word is thick with agony and hatred, as the same thoughts rip like wildfire through the minds of both women, twisting the clock back only a few short months to a calm, foggy summer night in San Francisco. Did you drove or did you flew? Carol was still Miss Marvel then, a former Avenger building a new life for herself in the city by the bay. Rogue was there to ambush her and absorb her superpowers, to be used later in a planned attempt to free her captured brethren in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. But something went wrong. Carol fought too long, too fiercely, and instead of temporarily stealing Rogue's Carol's abilities and memories, Rogue's transfer became permanent. Before we go further, take a look at that picture where Carol yells, "Rogue!" Rogue's face slides down her own head.
Yeah, that's... Well, when you're in shock, that's what happens, right?
Yes.
Your forehead just,
Her face has slid down, her skull, lower. It's just, I feel like he's just not drawing, looking at the whole thing. It's a little weird.
It's bizarre.
And I also feel like we're not sure how old Rogue is. Like, she's a teenager. Is she 40? I really don't know yet.
Yeah. Not consistently established.
It was a physical and psychic trauma that scarred both women.
Get away from me.
For details, see Avengers Annual 10. Now, I have to support that. Yes, or watch our episode.
Or watch our video on Avengers Annual 10.
And of course, they don't even show the incident in Avengers Annual 10. The incident occurs before the issue starts.
Yeah, we actually see more of it here.
We definitely do. We definitely do.
Not dead? Impossible. That blow should have smashed you to a pulp.
Rogue! She's part of Mystique's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Stop her, Wolverine!
No, leave her to me. She's mine.
Sorry, darling. I know how you feel, but Storm's the boss. You got a lot to answer for, Red. I guess you got red hair. We never talked about that before. We probably won't again because it's colored brown in this issue. So red has nothing to do with it. Maybe you're a communist. You got a lot to answer for, Red. I suggest you stay real cool. And if you're lucky, you won't get hurt.
Oh, la-dee-da, little man. Y'all got me shaking in my boots. Only problem is that if anyone here is going to get hurt, wham, it's you. Boom.
Nice try. My bones are laced with adamantium. They're virtually unbreakable. I have claws, too, made out of the same stuff. And owned razor sharp. I'd use them on you. But you ain't worth the effort.
Bad move, shrimp.
Cripes, my arm, pinned.
Didn't Danvers tell y'all about me? I absorb the minds and abilities of whoever I touch. The merest flesh-to-flesh contact to do the trick, but I see no harm in having a little fun in the process. Do you, Wolverine, honey? I didn't think so.
It's a lot of talking while kissing somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I do love that middle panel there of his face blacked out.
Oh, yeah.
And the animalistic. It was really funny, too, because, obviously we talk a lot. They explain their power sets every issue.
Right.
Every comic's the first comic for somebody. And he's like, I've got claws, too. And I got bones. And I just ate a real garlicky tzatziki. Oh, man. Like, I'm just...
Tells everything. That's
Does
Zavaki
everything.
was. Zavaki was day old, but still delicious.
That's right.
I bought it at the Mr. Greek restaurant on my street.
Wash it down with a cold can of crab juice.
Color. I love that he's having like a fist fight with her.
Yeah.
And he takes a pound there and delivers one as well. It's good. I like seeing Wolverine fighting when it's not necessarily just rage. Yeah, it's cool. He makes a convulsive, desperate effort to break free, claws extending from housings built into his hands and forearms. But even as he does so, his mind goes blank, his body limp. No more, Rogue!
Ah!
That was a warning shot, villain. I suggest you take the hint and depart while you are still able.
Not a chance, Witch. I've been looking forward to meeting you X-Men and tearing you apart.
What's going on? Colonel, what's going on? Are you okay? Do you need help, ma'am?
All I need, gentlemen, is this. Fire away, sugar. Oh, won't do you no good. She's right. Devil take her soul. All Ms. Marvel was, all I was, she is, and will be forever.
I thought of this panel, like, have we seen a panel of Point Blank unloading a clip into somebody's chest? I don't think
sir.
we have.
No, not at all.
Right.
And I find that weird. And then I don't actually understand whose hand that is.
Right.
There's one like on basically going to her left shoulder.
Yes.
It's clearly gloved.
Yes.
So both those MPs are. It's unclear if they're gloved or not. I guess I'm assuming it's supposed to be one of them.
Yeah.
Because she just took their glove. I mean, took their gun.
Yeah.
But it looks like I don't know. Yeah, they wear gloves too, don't they? Oh, sorry. I should look at your copy because you got color. No, they're both barehanded in the previous panel.
They're both barehanded, yeah.
So let's just say that's a continuity error.
Let's say that.
Yeah, weird. So Storm changes her costume using her unstable molecules.
Mm-hmm.
And she has shown that ability before, that she just like does a cool move and she's in her costume. So let's just note that for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. So shooting, then Storm throws a gust of wind. We cannot fight here. I have no room to maneuver. And Wolverine is in a coma. It's the coma issue. I have no idea how badly he was affected. I must get him to safety and draw Rogue away from the innocent bystanders. A hurricane gust of Arctic air. Arctic air! Creates a sheet of ice on the floor and sends the startled Rogue skidding away. Arctic air, send Rogue skidding away!
Woo!
Storm grows. Storm generates. I'm getting sleepy. Storm generates a pea soup fog in the corridor. Throwing a brief, meaningful glance Carol's way before she scoops up Wolverine and disappears. I know you hate Rogue, Carol, and with good reason. But we came here for a purpose. The future of the X-Men rests in your hands, my friend. Do not fail us. Moments later.
The fog's gone, and so are those weird women.
I heard one call the other an X-Man. Sound full alert, Captain. I want those blasted muties found on the double.
Yes, sir. The X-Men are in real trouble now, and it's mostly my fault. When I saw Rogue, I couldn't help myself. She took from me everything that gave my life meaning. I don't know what hurts more, that or the fact that I'll never be able to make her pay for it.
Danvers. She hasn't seen me. Even if she had, it wouldn't matter. Neither she nor anyone else connects Raven Darkholme, civil servant, deputy director of Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, with Mystique.
It's a long
That
department.
ignorance will, very soon now, prove fatal.
Elsewhere. What a mess. Was Rogue alone? We walked into the middle of a Brotherhood operation. An assault on the Pentagon? I doubt it. Her demeanor was far too casual, which raises an even more disturbing question. If she belongs here, could the Brotherhood be working in concert with the American government? That sounds beyond belief, but...
Surprise, y'all. That runt Wolverine's enhanced senses are pretty nifty once I got the hang of them. Tracking y'all down became a piece of cake.
Nightcrawler, I need you. Hey,
What's that?
go back to that ad.
Sure.
There, that's the Dave Cockrum stuff.
Write your own
So
ticket.
yeah, this is the corner box of this issue, but the characters are cropped and moved around. I've just been drawing this for like the last, well, on and off for the last week or so. So that's really funny to see in this context. And like Cyclops' foot has been mangled, like it's a tiny little foot for him.
Mm-hmm.
And Wolverine also has been like made small. Anyway, it's neat to see this image just out of context. Very funny.
He can't save you, sugar. Wanna bet? Huh? I heard your call over our micro-transceiver comlink. What does it say? So, Storm, I teleported here so quick. Teleported
Here as quickly as
here
I
as
could.
quickly as I could. Sorry it took so long.
I have no complaints, Nightcrawler, but be careful with her. She's dangerous.
So am I. There is Mystique, Liebling. She and I have much to talk about. Talk, child, before things get rough. Yee. Bub, I wouldn't worry about those questions if I were you. They're academic to a corpse.
Look at that face he drew for her.
Yeah, I know.
It just doesn't look like his artwork anymore. David says, the X-Men were great ambassadors for mutant kind. There's a politician on TV stirring up anti-mutant hysteria. Yeah, let's hide. Yeah, and let's attack the Pentagon. Let's do an operation in the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Crump.
Yeah.
By the way, did you know this is where crumping started?
Crumping? Oh. Where's the clown makeup? Or is that... No, that's crumping. Yeah, no, that's crumping. Clown dancing.
Continue, please.
Yeah.
You have to do better than that, Rogue, to hit a foe who can teleport out of your way.
Oh, someone must have got me naked and switched my clothes, because all of a sudden, I'm in a different outfit altogether. It makes no sense, but no one's going to notice but Jason.
That's right.
My skull, pounding, fit to bust. Oh, I feel so flaming weak, but getting stronger every second. The effect of Rogue's power must be temporary. The abilities she stole from me are coming back.
I know what's happened, Rump, but what I did once, I can do again.
You can try, babe, but this time, I'm ready for you.
And he punches her through a wall.
We have never seen Wolverine punch anyone as hard as this.
Knowing, he is stronger than an average bear.
Sure.
And then, of course, that his skeleton is reinforced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't drywall. Like, this is some thick stuff. Like, that puts him in another power class, which I think is really fun.
Yeah.
When he wants to throw a big punch, like, I love it. Shaking the fist and swing it right through.
Like it would have been a bit more like maybe that was a window or something.
Sure.
You know,
but we'll go with it. It's all in good fun. Meanwhile, retinal scan, voice print, and identity card. Oh, this is, I think, the computer speaking.
I think so.
Retinal scan, voice print, and identity card check confirmed. Colonel admits it to the Soul Vault authorized.
Thank you. It's nice to see that whatever else I've lost, I'm still as good a spy as ever.
The Prime Computer Center. What does she want in there? From the sound of things, Rogue and the X-Men are keeping each other busy. That leaves Danvers and me on our own. Good. Her death will be a personal pleasure, too long denied. I can't follow as myself. My Raven identity is too valuable to compromise. I'll simply shape change into the form of someone Carol trusts. Nicholas Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. She won't suspect a thing until I strike. Elsewhere, a full power bolt, and Rogue shrugs it off with a laugh.
Y'all getting A for effort, Stone. You tried, you lost. There are worse epitaphs.
No! Rogue's touch, Aurora feels a sudden, terrible, wrenching dissolution of self and then her awareness. Indeed, for all practical purposes, her very existence as a sentient being ceases. But at this time, Rogue discovers she may have absorbed more than she bargained for. Storm's control over the weather has been honed and perfected by half a lifetime of practice and experience. Rogue lacks those critical assets. David says, hard not to hear the Popeye music in that Wolverine wind-up panel. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't even know what the music is, but there you go. That costs her dearly.
Ha! The weather is exploding out of control. Too much is happening too fast. Rogue can't control it. Sirs are right. I'd best horse Storm out of harm's way while I have the chance. Oh, so much for that idea. Rogues generated a flash flood. This is not going well.
I guess that's Storm there, yeah.
Great Storm, man.
Could be worse, my friend. More energy Rogue expends. Faster she uses up her stolen powers. Sooner they revert to the original owners. I can think. Soon I'll be able to act. What then, Storm? She's trashing us. But good. How do we beat her? Meanwhile, hello, Carol. I've been looking forward to this moment.
Who? Fury. But why the gun?
To kill you, of course. Blam. That was almost too quick, too easy, Carol. I somehow expected better of you.
Y'all gluttons of punishment and thought you'd be long gone by now. You haven't a prayer, you know. At my weakest, I still possess the powers of Ms. Marvel, and that's more than enough to turn this entire building into a mountain of rubble.
Our minds and souls are supremely precious to us, Rogue. You or anyone tamper with them at your peril. We also do not like losing. I've snared her. She's yours, Wolverine. But don't let her touch you. I've learned my lesson, Storm. You keep her covered, and I'll put her down for the count.
That the best you can do, sugar?
You're a tough little cookie, ain't ya, Rogue? Well, if a right cross to the jaw won't do the trick, let's see what happens when I hit some critical neural pressure points.
Sorry, Runt. With me, one shot is all you get.
I like this panel as being like the key point of inspiration for Mignola's cover,
Yes.
but add in like the lightning, so like mixing those two kinds of moments. It's good.
I was hoping Wolverine. I feel like a future version like Wolverine, you'd write that and say, if a right cross doesn't do the trick, how about a 3 claws to your spine?
Yeah,
I feel it'd be so much darker now.
for sure. Like one claw inserted into your ear.
Yeah.
Let me scratch your brainstem for you.
Ah,
I also love the idea that like she puts the Storm puts her cape around Rogue, but maybe get it around the head, and Wolverine just knuckles her a bunch of times, just rap. Like
that cape has come in very handy over many issues. There's often a resort where she resorts to kind of just trapping. Oh, someone put a cape over me. I can't see.
for sure. I like that idea. Wolverine talking tough with her, good. I also got to say, like looking up and seeing Fury in a purple suit, I dig it.
It does look good.
Danvers was working with the X-Men. I wonder what they wanted from the library banks. Guards will be here any second. Danvers looks dead, but I'll administer a coup de grace just to make sure. Oh!
Looks are deceiving, Buster. Thank heaven for my extraordinary reflexes. I dodged quickly enough so that bullet only grazed my head. Hurts like blazes, but I'm alive. Obviously, this isn't Nick Fury, but who? I don't believe it. His features changing before my eyes. Into Storm. Nice ploy. The shock of that transformation threw me off balance, allowed my foe to to seize the initiative. She may have Aurora's looks, but evidently not her powers. She's fighting like a normal person. Big mistake. I was trained by the best to be the best. I figured out who you are, lady. Because of that, you haven't a chance. She's unconscious, reverting to her true form, Mystique. You sent Rogue after me in San Francisco. If not for you, I'd still be whole. You owe me, Mystique. And you're going to pay with your life.
Nice.
Had enough, darlings. Y'all look so tired while I feel fresh as a daisy. She's right. Curse her! We've tried everything to no avail. Eh? What's Storm doing?
Your triumph is premature, rogue.
A tornado!
Before the young woman is fully aware of what's happening, Storm's cyclone scoops her up and carries her away. My whirlwind won't hold her long. I suggest we not be here when she returns.
What about Carol and the mission?
This place is crawling with security forces. Battered and outnumbered as we are, we dare not risk a battle with them or Rogue. I'm sorry, Wolverine. All we can do is flee. Miscolor on Mystique's face, unfortunately.
Yeah.
However, unbeknownst to them,
You should have slain me, Danvers. When next we meet, and we will meet, count on that. I will not be so merciful. There is death between us.
Bigger away, toys. I'll secure the Siso vault till the duty staff arrives. I should have pulled that trigger, but I couldn't. I'm not as ruthless as I once was. My weakness will cost me, I'm afraid. With her shape-changing ability, Mystique is certain to escape, and soon I may have to spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder, wondering when she'll strike. And the irony is, I can't even remember why she hates me so. That part of my memories was irrevocably lost when Rogue stole my powers. But I'm a survivor. I'll handle it. There. The virus program is primed and ready to go. Once I've punched up the X-Men data file...
her fingers flash over the control console. But what appears on the scan screens is not at all what she expects.
Well, my subconscious must be working overtime. Used the wrong access code. These are my personnel files. It's Carol Danvers and Ms. Marvel. My history, my life, compressed onto a fraction of a microchip. Faces are familiar, but the women they represent are strangers. They were women of great promise with hopes and dreams, but their lives ended. They died. Brooding about what happened, wishing things were different won't help. I can't go back. I can't change anything, and I shouldn't try. I exist, here and now. I have a present and a future, a life to savor to the fullest. The same gift every infant receives at birth. If it's good enough for them, it's more than enough for me.
Soon, outside...
Sign of the X-Men or Rogue, but security's pulling at all the stops in their search for them. They've even brought up the Army's Fast Reaction SWAT Battalion from Fort Myers. I wonder how they'll explain this to the press. The X-Men will probably end up portrayed as the villains of the piece. If Senator Kelly is any indication, the government is already paranoid about mutants. This will only make matters worse. And since the X-Men have no official sanction, like the Avengers, they have no way of telling their side of things. Carol, over here! Kurt! It's good to see that you're all right. I know Rogue's capabilities. I figured you'd have a fight on your hands.
No sweat, Carol. We showed the kid a surprise or two.
And what about you and the mission?
Everything's taken care of. Officially, as far as the Federal Computer Network is concerned, the X-Men have ceased to exist. Wunderbar! My sentiments exactly. And they are, too, in a way. Today, I finally laid my ghosts to rest. I'm free to begin my life anew. I don't know where I'll end up, but I'll lay odds it'll be an interesting trip.
Next issue, I never thought I'd say these words. Dracula.
That's my favorite part of the entire comic. Next issue, Dracula.
Yeah.
What?
David Cutler says, what's the X-Men side of things exactly? Well, David, I don't think exactly, the word exactly is to be used in this context here. So, yeah, everything's taken care of officially as far as the Federal Computer Network is concerned. The X-Men have ceased to exist. Yeah, I think that's kind of all we get is just, I don't know. I don't really know what to say, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
They're not
Sometimes
cool.
things are funny. Any letters of note that you spotted so far?
No, there's a bunch from Canada.
Canada?
Chatham, Ontario, and
Yeah.
Calgary, and the Hammertown.
Hamilton, yeah.
That's about it. Nothing that seems. I didn't notice any that are particularly that stand out.
I think it's funny. This one from Hamilton. Are you able to read it? From Steve.
Sure.
Yeah, please, if you can.
Dear Marvel, that's it. When I saw the return of the Hellfire Club, I thought the rematch would certainly surpass the first meeting between them and the X-Men. Boy, was I ever wrong. I was truly disgusted with X-Men number 151 and 152. I thought they were handled very poorly and looked almost as if it was a rush job. I hope this is not a sign of things to come. Steve Spzak from Hamilton, Ontario.
That is awesome. That's very funny.
That is pretty funny.
Oh, sorry. David says, Carol implies if the X-Men could explain themselves, things would be different. Sorry, yeah, I half understood. I didn't quite understand what you were saying, and that's on me, not you. Right. So we were just using our special abilities to undermine your government. I think what she really means is that we're trying to do good for the sake of humanity, and there are some things, including your government records, that get in the way of us.
That's right.
Serving humanity with a pure heart and with good intention. I think that's kind of where they're going, but doesn't mean that it's a good idea. I have to do a really weird comparison. So you can see in the background of the final panel, Carol is thinking to herself, and her cap is pulled a little bit down, and she's kind of focused, and there's a yellow surprint, or color hold, I should say. There's a yellow color hold in the back of her last costume as Ms. Marvel.
Mm.
In the copy I read, it was not so. I gotta show you.
That's interesting.
Hello.
This
is how it ends.
Huh.
The color hold is done in full line art, and I thought,
well,
there were these two. At first, I was like, "How am I supposed to read this?"
Yeah.
And here.
Yeah.
And my final conclusion was that was in her mind, and that version of Carol was speaking to her.
Mm-hmm.
That she was going to now have another personality in there that was sort of like a dual personality. One is Miss Marvel and one is her, and they would have a little back and forth. I am so grateful when I see now how it's supposed to be in color that it's like the saying goodbye to the old.
Yeah.
It's like the last time I'm going to see her.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's much better not having that in there. I was I didn't know how it was going to end until that very moment. Next issue, Dracula.
Get ready for it. Dracula.
Bonkers. So I'm going to leave it up to you.
Okay.
Either next issue, we do Dracula.
Yeah.
With guest artist Bill Sienkiewicz. Very exciting. Or, because it's the perfect time to do it, Wolverine Limited Series for 4 weeks.
Ooh.
You don't have to decide now. I have a hunch that
turn March into Wolverine Limited Series month.
Right, we could do that. We can get 4 weeks out of that, and probably if we needed a fifth. March is 5. I don't know how many Tuesdays we get. I can just look at my phone and see how many Tuesdays we have this month in March. But that is definitely something we can consider doing.
Okay.
We get 4 Tuesdays, 4 issues of Wolverine.
It's not a bad idea.
And then we'll be back with an issue of X-Men, which would be April 4th. Terrible day. One of the worst days of the year.
Mm-hmm. And then Dracula. Yeah.
Dracula would be April 4th. David Cutler gets a vote. Good. As we should leave it up to the guys in the chat.
True.
I mean, why not? David says 4 weeks of Wolvie with Dracula to look forward to is my vote from the Peanut Gallery. I think you get the best. Your vote wins all the votes. So that means, Chris, you're going to need somehow to be able to read Wolverine over the week. I wonder how you're going to do that. Should I show you?
Sure.
Goodbye,
What?
my friend. At the toy show that I was at last week,
Yes.
not only did I get that new issue of X-Men Special Edition #1,
Mm-hmm.
I also found this for you.
Ooh.
So you get to
you.
have, let me take that silly price off that. You get to have your very own copy of the direct market, I think that the bookstore version of the Wolverine Limited series with the modern, like at the time it was not the original cover that was on it, this cover.
Yeah.
This is like just for this edition, and it's definitely a different version of Miller's art style where he's like, doing painted stuff. I don't know if Lynn Varley helped with this one, but it's definitely not what we saw it's not indicative of what we see in the book. But
Okay.
I've got a digital version of the comic that we can present, and I'll handle that side next week.
Okay.
And you can have this one to read, and I've got the originals because I'm amazing.
Nice.
Luckiest boy in the world. I stole them from my brother.
Nice.
And I've also got a copy of that too. So for you tomorrow, sir.
Cool. That's exciting. Awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, should I show other stuff I have for you tomorrow?
What's that?
Should I show the other stuff that I have for you?
Sure.
I mentioned it to you before.
Okay.
Oh, so many books.
So many books. Oh yeah. Thunderstrike.
He's like your favorite character of all time.
It is.
And the Lemire. Terry
Part of
Dodson.
those Dollarama $5 deals, people. If you don't go to Dollarama to pick up $5 trades of Marvel and DC.
That's right. So I know Jason
random,
probably
but there's
know about this.
Decent stuff for $5.
That's right. And Anthony, I'm not sure if you're still here, but at the Dollarama we've got in the GTA, we've noticed there's some $5 hardcovers, $5 trades at the dollar store. So it's Dollarama. So that's pretty cool. So that's all for you for tomorrow. We're going to meet in person. We're doing an in-class workshop at a nearby school. I'm very excited for that. So we'll meet up, do our thing in the morning. Probably have to grab an early lunch, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And then head to the comic store, depending what time to open. We'll figure it all out.
Nice. And then rush home, watch Mando, and then talk all night about Mando. There you go.
I don't know. Okay, now we're transitioning. That's great. I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
You're going to wake up and watch it.
Well, to make tomorrow work, I've got to do my 1 hour dog walk.
Right.
Before everything, like at maybe 7:30, because we're meeting pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to get up at 6 to what? Oh yeah, I probably am. 5:30 Mando? Yeah, probably.
5:30 Mando.
I love that show so much. I'm such a fan. Anyway, that's really cool. So it's been a lot of fun reading issue 158. I'm very excited to go over the Wolverine Limited series by Chris Claremont, Frank Miller, and Joe Rubenstein.
Can't wait.
Who's in my doghouse at the moment. That'll be next week for the next 4 weeks. Very, very exciting stuff.
Excellent.
And excellent, exactly. And of course, you can find our comics and more about our comics and or workshops, in-school stuff, virtual, however you want to go, and our upcoming appearances. You can find about that at our website, which is group7comics.ca. Here's a good stack of our books at the moment. And sold out just about. We probably have one more show in us to sell that one, and we're going to be all gone. So keep your ear to the ground about what's coming up there. And we will be at Toronto Comic-Con, March
17th to 19th.
17th to 19th. I'm looking forward to that, Chris. I have not looked to see who's going to be there, except I do know, of course, Andy Serkis is going to be there on the Saturday. That's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. What else should we pitch here? Our socials. You can follow us on the socials in the links below this video, of course, which are basically Group of 7 Comics, at Group of 7 Comics, and on all the socials. And of course, the number 7 is a number, not the word.
Yeah, and we put out a fun little new promo on the YouTube site, just kind of introducing who we are and what we do. And that's garnered a few more subscriptions. So I just want to say shout out to the following: WDC Gaming, Dwayne KW, Rick Lightborn, Zach Rushing, Lars Gilligan, Aaliyah Nyoko, get that right, Connor, Luis Alvarez, Wheezy405, Kel Watt, and Toy Mafia. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Hope you like the content.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to see a bunch of new names subscribe to the channel, and we would love to hit, of course, 1,000 subscribers. That's the path we're on right now. So please continue to support the channel by putting your comments in the comment section below, clicking like, subscribing to the channel, and sharing with anyone that you think would be interested, or just putting it out there into your own network. We really are enjoying sharing X-Men comics with you all, and we hope to continue doing that. So your support is greatly appreciated, and we will continue to go on this journey of learning all about what made this series so classic and influence, what's coming up ahead, and of course in the MCU, and thousands and thousands of creators in the decades to come. So it's a ton of fun to read this stuff. Any other things you want to throw out there, Chris?
I think we're good, man.
Go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go always. Always and every day.
There you go. So thank you to everybody, and we'll see you again next week. Cheers, everyone in the chat. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. We had a great time.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you all soon. And Anthony, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.